The Scary Maze Game. A simple flash puzzle that made an entire generation scream at their monitor, and it's the reason reaction video became a genre at all. Developer Jeremy Winterroud built it in 2003. You guide a cursor through a maze without touching the walls. Easy for 2 levels, then level 3 narrows to almost nothing, forcing you to lean in and focus. That's the entire trick. The second you're fully locked in, a screaming face from The Exorcist fills the screen. You didn't need to be scared of horror movies for it to work. Level 3 did that on its own. By 2006, a video of an 8-year-old boy getting jump-scared by it hit YouTube and pulled in over 26 million views. Saturday Night Live parodied it in 2010. Grandmothers, toddlers, grown men, all filmed getting got by the exact same 3-level maze. 2 decades later, it's still the reference point every watch someone react to this video traces back to.
What's wrong with this picture? A completely ordinary photo of a dining room. You're asked to spot what's wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the whole point. And that's what makes it work. J. Bill McCarthy posted it to his personal website in February 2002, a full year before the Scary Maze game existed. You'd stare at the table, the chairs, the window, hunting for the error the caption promised, and while you were leaning in, completely absorbed, the picture would suddenly cut to a screaming face. This is the one that actually started the format. Before Flash games, before YouTube, this was already spreading as a forwarded email attachment. Open the file, complete the challenge, get scared, forward it to your friends, to see if they can find it too.
It's barely remembered today next to the maze game, but almost every screamer that came after, the games, the spot the difference, the click here for the surprise, copied this exact structure first. Ghost car. A calm shot of a car driving down a quiet street at night. Then a corpse-pale face lunges into frame, screaming. This one wasn't hiding on some sketchy website. It aired on actual German television. In 2005, the coffee drink brand Keffi built an entire ad campaign out of internet screamer format, under the tagline, Wide Awake. 9 different commercials, all structured the same way. Peaceful footage, sudden scare, then the product logo. Most companies would run from something this unhinged as a marketing strategy. Keffi leaned all the way in instead. 9 ads, same structure, running for years. It worked.
The commercials themselves went viral online, essentially turning a shock site prank format into a TV ad genre for a few years, before regulators and networks eventually started pushing back on jump scare advertising altogether. Smile.jpg. A photo of a husky with a grin that's just slightly too human, and the legend insists the only way to survive seeing it is to make someone else see it too. The creepypasta first spread on 4chan's paranormal board in 2008, later written up properly by writer Michael Lutz in 2010. Supposedly, anyone who views the image starts seeing the dog in their dreams, and the nightmares don't stop until they forward the file to someone else. Here's the detail that makes it different from every other cursed image story. Nobody has ever actually located an original smile.jpg. Every version floating around online is a different fan-made recreation, and there's never been a real file for anyone to produce and debunk.
It became one of the 3 creepypastas basically everyone knew by name, right alongside Slender Man and Jeff the Killer. One of the internet's first haunted image formats, years before jump scare videos caught up to the same idea. Nobody's ever produced the real file. 2 decades in, nobody still has. Ghost caught on tape. A grainy night vision shot of an empty room with a rocking chair, the kind of real paranormal footage thumbnail that baited an entire generation into clicking. YouTuber Steve Zaransky uploaded it in October 2006 under the channel SZ World. Framed like an actual home security recording. Nothing happens for the better part of a minute except a TV murmuring quietly in another room. Then, the rocking chair starts moving on its own.
A beat later, the screaming face from The Exorcist lunges directly into the camera. The exact same jump scare image the maze game had already been using for years, just repackaged as real. It didn't matter that horror fans could point out the recycled scare. The "is this real" framing worked on enough people that the video quietly racked up over 77 million views. 2 decades later, the same rocking chair setup still gets remade and reposted by new creators almost every year. proof that found footage scares people the same way whether it's 2006 or right now. Slender, the 8 pages. No screaming face, no jump scare sound effect, and it still became one of the games millennials were most afraid to play alone with the lights off.
Developer Mark Hadley built it in about a week for a horror game contest on the forum Something Awful in June 2012, based on the Slender Man character that another internet creator had invented 3 years earlier as a simple photoshopped image. The premise? Walk a dark forest at night, collect 8 pages, don't turn around if you hear static. The tall, faceless figure doesn't chase you and never touches you. It just appears, closer every time you look back, and the game glitches to black the moment it's close enough. It cost nothing to download, and it spread almost entirely through YouTube videos of people screaming and slamming their laptops shut. Some of the channels that got their start filming exactly that reaction are still among the biggest on the platform today. No blood, no scream, not even a real ending. Just a shape you couldn't look at twice. Kikia. Everyone credits the Scary Maze game as the internet's first screamer. They're wrong by about a year. It surfaced on a Taiwanese web hosting service in 2002 or 2003, posted by a user going by Netspooky, a slow-moving cartoon of a boy walking through a field, captioned with a few lines about how long it's been since he looked at the sky. Same trick as everything that came after it. Quiet setup, then a jump scare face lifted from the horror game Fatal Frame 2. The difference isn't the technique, it's just that this one got there first. It never crossed over into English-speaking internet the way the Maze game did, so almost nobody outside Screamer historians actually knows the name. The famous ones get the credit. The real first one is still sitting on an old server nobody remembers the address of. An elevator, the lights cut out. When they come back on, a small girl in a torn dress is standing in the corner, screaming. This wasn't a website or a forwarded file, it was a real hidden camera prank, aired on the Brazilian variety show Programa Silvio Santos in November 2012, using an actual child actor and a rigged elevator panel. Unsuspecting passengers had no idea they'd become part of a broadcast. The clip needed no subtitles to travel. A scream translates in any language, and it crossed 7 million views within days of hitting YouTube, reposted everywhere from local news broadcasts to late-night TV roundups in the US. It also reignited a fight the whole screamer genre had been dodging for a decade. Lawyers publicly debated on American TV whether scaring someone this badly, on camera, without consent, actually crossed a legal line. The Bongchong Dong Ghost. You're just reading a scary webcomic, scrolling panel by panel like normal, and then the page starts scrolling itself. It's a South Korean horror webtoon, first published on Naver in July 2011, about a woman who runs into the ghost of a former classmate near a real Seoul neighborhood. For most of the comic, it plays completely straight. You scroll, you read, nothing unusual happens. Near the climax, a script hijacks your scrolling entirely. The comic auto-scrolls down on its own, simulating the ghost's head snapping around in a rapid frame-by-frame animation. You never touched your mouse, but the page moved anyway. It crossed over to English-speaking audiences almost entirely because of reaction videos of people getting caught completely off guard by a comic that wasn't supposed to move at all. 20 years of internet screamers, and this is still one of the only ones that gets you without touching your mouse. When will you die?
You type in your name, your birthday, a few details about yourself, and a quiz site promises to calculate the exact date you're going to die. It ran on Liquid Generation, a site that specialized in fake personality quiz sabotages in the early to mid-2000s. You'd answer the questions half seriously, half joking with friends over AIM about what it would say. The quiz spits out a fake cause of death and date with a cartoon clown popping up and screaming, and then offers a second button daring you to click for your real result. Almost everyone clicked it anyway. That second click triggered the actual scare, a much louder, much more disturbing jump scare, followed by text admitting you'd just been sabotaged, with a little animated character telling you to go check out more of the site. Almost nobody stopped at the first scare. The second click was the real trap, and it caught nearly everyone who took the quiz. Sonic.exe.
Somebody corrupted your favorite childhood mascot into a demon with bleeding eyes. and an entire generation went looking for the game anyway, just to see it happen. In August 2011, a writer using the name J.C. the Hyena posted a short horror story to the Creepypasta wiki. A friend mails you a burned CD labeled Sonic.exe, warns you not to play it, and of course the narrator plays it anyway. Inside is a broken version of the 1991 Sega Genesis classic, with Sonic hunting down Tails and Knuckles one by one. A year later, in August 2012, a fan built an actual playable version of the story as a free download. Distorted music, sudden screamer faces, a title card that just reads, "I am God." You didn't need to be a Sonic fan for it to work. Corrupting something that innocent was the whole trick.
It spread almost entirely through YouTube videos of people playing it blind and screaming at their screens, and within a couple of years it had spun off into dozens of fan games, remakes, and parody versions. Today it's less feared than memed. Fan art, cosplay, inside jokes, but it's still the reason an entire generation can't look at a Sonic title screen without a flicker of doubt. Jeff the Killer, a pale, grinning face with no eyelids, captioned, "Go to sleep." One of the most reposted screamer images in internet history, and also one of the most misunderstood. The photo first surfaced on a Japanese message board in 2005, then got rebranded years later, in 2008, by a Newgrounds user who built a whole creepypasta backstory around it. A teenager who mutilates his own face and stalks his victims at night.
Here's the myth that stuck for over a decade. Forums and chain messages insisted the photo was a real teenage girl who had taken her own life after online bullying. It's false, and it's been debunked for years. The creator eventually confirmed the image was just himself, in white face paint, nothing more. A dedicated screamer site built around the image got visited more than 23 million times over its run, and the character spun off dozens of fan stories and spin-off villains that have basically nothing to do with the original photo anymore. In August 2026, it was announced Jeff is getting a feature film adaptation. Nearly 20 years after a Newgrounds post turned a random photo into internet horror royalty. The caption, "Go to sleep," is still instantly recognizable today, even to people who have no idea the face behind it was never anyone's real tragedy at all. If this took you back, subscribe. More of your childhood is coming.